all workers have a reproductive body, men and women, and at different times of their lives, they can deliver certain challenges to their work and their employment security. So, of course, everyone has different experiences and needs, and not everyone faces difficulties with their reproductive bodies. But there is solid global research that shows menstrual and menopause pain can interfere with particularly women and girls' ability to attend work, school and university. And the impact on economic security is most pronounced, of course, for those with the more acute experiences, such as those who experience endometriosis or have really difficult menopause systems that are sustained over a significant period of time. But another growing concern is fertility. We know a lot of our treasurers are concerned with declining fertility rates, and there's really well-documented evidence around the rapid increase in the demand for assisted reproductive technologies like IVF here in Australia. Your viewers might be surprised to know that in 2022, almost 1 in 5 babies were conceived via IVF. So for couples undertaking fertility treatment arrangements, they need to make particular arrangements with their employers to take time off, to meet appointments and undertake those treatments. So this is an issue for both prospective fathers as well as mothers.
And so regular sick leave isn't enough?
No, well, this is an issue that comes up a lot in the global debate and also here in Australia around bargaining tables and between workers and employers. The thing here is that, is that reproductive health and wellbeing, it's not a sickness. Period pain and menopause symptoms are not an illness. And the research shows that those who have significant menstrual or menopause symptoms that interfere with work, they tend to use their sick leave in order to manage, and that can lead to them running down this really important form of paid leave that leaves them without access for when they actually are sick or their family members are sick and they need to take sick leave in order to manage sickness. So there's this practical issue of running down sick leave for something that's not an illness. And then there's the issue of miscategorising or stigmatising periods or menopause or fertility as an illness rather than just a regular part of, having a body. So there are many advocates who argue that part of the response to these issues is a dedicated form of reproductive leave that allows workers to freely manage those issues in the workplace without drawing down on their sick leave.
Now, as I understand it, you were not part of this particular study that's brought this issue up, but just talk us through the economics of this in terms of how does it cost more to the community by not having reproductive leave? But myself and my colleagues have been looking at the reproductive body at work for around 7 or 8 years and looking at the global debates and policy innovation that's going on. And I guess what I'd want to concentrate on here more is really the issue of productivity loss and wellbeing loss, of not thinking about this issue in a creative and systematic way. So the research in Australia and globally shows very clearly that workers who do have reproductive wellbeing needs, some of them experience absenteeism. That's, of course, has a hit on productivity. There's also this notion of presenteeism, which is a strange word, but it really refers to, what many of us do, particularly pre-COVID. We would go to work when we weren't feeling well, and so we wouldn't be working at our optimum. And then there's evidence around, particularly for those with acute issues, the way in which the acute nature of those reproductive wellbeing issues means that they find themselves needing to moderate and modify their career choices. So they might go into a lower responsibility job, a different job to that which they're trained for. They might reduce their hours or forego promotion. And of course, that leads to a bit of a skill mismatch, and you're not optimising your workforce. And of course, in really significant circumstances, there might be people leaving the labour market or taking early retirement. So reproductive wellbeing takes these issues seriously, and it looks to support workers and their economic security to ameliorate the impact on working life and the long-term economic security of those individuals and their households. So reproductive policy can be a really important productivity measure.
Are there many countries around the world that actually have mandated reproductive leave, and this is being released ahead of a federal election? Are you optimistic that the political parties here in Australia will embrace this?
There are many national governments and state governments around the world who have mandated reproductive leave or forms of menstrual and menopause leave. This is not a new policy area. Menstrual leave has been in some countries for more than 100 years. And what we definitely see since 2000 is a really rapid uptick, not only by governments, but also by private companies implementing this type of leave. So governments around Australia, state and federal, they've been talking a lot about increasing women's labour force participation, diversity and fairness in the workplace. And I guess what I'd say is that we need a policy framework that supports those aspirations. And measures to accommodate the reproductive body at work do have an important role to play. Whether they're top of the policy priority list for governments in the election, who knows? Let's see.
Okay, Elizabeth Health, thanks so much for talking to us from Sydney.
No worries. See you, Joe.